Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Late Night Bmore. I am your host, Bazil. Joining me, you guys know him well. He is the Bat Guru. He is the artist. He is the creative. He is the man. Please welcome Travis Davis, everyone. And then coming back from a long hiatus, it's been a while, but he's back in the program. Please welcome Ryan Hemphill, a.k.a. Young Hemp. What's going on, everyone?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody? Not so young anymore. It's been a long time, but it's good to be back.
You don't need to tell him that. It's fine. Now, look, I know y'all looking at this and being like, oh, my God, it's another podcast. First of all, watch your mouth. Second, this is going to have some podcast feel to it, but a majority of this is going to be a variety. Think of it as a late night show. You know, we're here. It's in the evening time. You know, some stuff that we've done, segments that's going to be on the episode is outside of, this studio. But, you know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So please tag along, enjoy the ride. If you like, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It'll help us out with the algorithm. And if you want to help us build from this episode, check the links below. We really appreciate it. Now let's start off with the first segment. Guys, I don't know if you've been, if you haven't watched the news or you've been trapped in Diddy's basement, Trump won. Trump won the election. There's been some controversy, to say the least, around it. But particularly in the black community, let's just say that us here as black men, it's apparently our fault.
Yeah, I mean, everything is our fault,
unfortunately. So
with that, I don't know what you guys have as far as like your family or everything, but I know my mom, especially, she's a full-fledged Democrat. She was going for Kamala Harris, strong woman, strong black women. And, it didn't happen. She was fine with it, not making a big cahoot. I would joke and make fun of her about it, just to tease her because it's my mom. But beyond that, it's not to the effect that we're seeing online where families are being disbanded and excommunicated. People, unfortunately, are reports are saying self-deleting themselves based on the election results. And there's a multitude of black women who are blaming black men for Trump being in office. And so my first question to you guys is, do you think it's justifiable, based on the election results and the campaign as a whole, for there to be such a divide between friends, families, et cetera? Like, what can be done to help, bridge the gap? Because I don't, this political cult, I don't get it.
Well, I feel like in today's society, groupthink is a big thing. Like, if you and I don't agree, then we can't be friends. In my personal experience, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't spoken with any of my family members or really any of my friends about the election because I don't want them to have an issue. I didn't vote for Trump. To be honest with you, I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. No, I didn't vote.
Jill Stein, everyone. It was Jill Stein. No, I'm joking.
No, I didn't go. I didn't want to waste my time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't care for either candidate. My blackness wouldn't permit me to vote for Trump. And I felt like every time I watched Kamala, she was talking about Trump. I'm not familiar with any of her policies. I think she had Fat Joe. She had Cardi B. She had Megan Thee Stallion.
Twerking.
Great people. Has nothing to do with politics. So I was like, I don't think she's going to get my vote. But to answer your question, it is unacceptable to allow something that is temporary to destroy what should be a lifelong relationship. You're going to fall out with a family member, maybe your mother, your father, brother, or sister, over somebody who's only going to be in office for 4 years. I don't think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole, to piggyback off what you said, groupthink, like even when I was in the polls voting, Jill Stein, there were women of color there, but they were kind of egging on people they were giving ballots to. Like the one brother went up there to give his ballot. She like, you know what to do. You gonna vote, right? Yeah. And she was like doing all this tap dancing and making a big scene when I guess when you're at a polling place, you're supposed to be unbiased.
Right.
Like they were very strict about me having my cell phone, like even just 5 seconds to text my sister. So it's just the groupthink is so strong when it comes to the movement of her, Democrats pushing her as a black woman. That strong black woman narrative, I think, ever since, the Black Lives Matter movement and black girl power and things of those nature, like what was it, Sam Jackson and one of them, I was it, black girl magic, during that whole era, I think it has gotten that groupthink mindset so strong that even the slightest perspective outside of that can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Controversial.
Yes.
So I really think the groupthink mindset and the propaganda that goes around that needs to be more unbiased and open, as opposed to just Trump's racist. They're going to take away abortion rights.
It's going to be a slave again.
Yeah, it's very one-dimensional when it comes to the perspectives of that, and I think the groupthink mindset needs to be just pushed on a broader perspective.
Young Hemp, you mentioned something that your blackness wouldn't allow you to vote for Trump.
Correct. It wouldn't.
What happened with blacks and Trump? Because it was in our lifetime that Trump was at all the hip hop parties, Lil Wayne and
rappers
all
naming
them
themselves
rappers
after
are naming
Trump.
themselves after Trump.
Yeah,
pictures with Trump at Trump Tower and all this stuff. What happened?
I personally don't think Donald Trump is racist. However, this is my personal take on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the anti-Obama, and a lot of people are probably not going to like what I'm saying, but this is kind of what he did. Everybody's seen the video. He was on a late night show where he said if he ran for president, he would do it as a Republican. He's been planning this for a while. Barack Obama, when he ran the first time, does anybody remember what his campaign slogan was?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Right? And that was it. Does anybody remember anything else?
What was it? It was like, we're going to hold manufacturing accountable to audit the audit or something. He was very good about saying nothing, everything was saying nothing.
Wasn't there change somewhere?
Change was the second time around, I believe.
Okay.
So he had great slogans. Now, what did Trump do? Make America great again. Barack Obama, he went up, he sang Al Green, he smoked cools, he played basketball. Some of the blackest things you could ever do in America, right?
Tan suit on Easter Sunday.
Right. It reminded me of one of my uncles. Very near and dear to my heart. I felt like I knew the man. Donald Trump did the same thing for white people. He did the same. He pandered. He knew his audience was racist white folks, and he pandered to them. I don't believe he's a racist, but me being a black man, since he's taking that stance, I really can't. I can't because it's just I don't agree with it.
Yeah, when people mention that racism part, I understand where they're coming from, but I also don't get the point where people like there's this big wave of racists that came out of the bushes and they were like, all right, we got to get Trump back in. It's like you guys went back to back with Obama. And if you guys really hate black people as much as you say, where was that before? How'd you let this guy get away twice?
Right.
So that's my confusion with it. I don't get it, but I want to play a clip here to piggyback or go back to the within the black community, the issue that seems to be prevailing, especially with black women, with black men on this Donald Trump victory.
And I may offend some people with what I'm going to say, and I don't give a f. To all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you. To you black men who your fragile ego couldn't take a black woman in office, so you either voted for Trump or you didn't vote at all, the police will now have carte blanche to murder you right where the you stand. And when they do that, there's not going to be no GoFundMes. Don't ask your family to ask us for shit. Just die. They can't afford to bury you. Dig a hole in their backyard. It is what it is.
Wow. But here's what I don't get. How come? And this isn't the first time this has been like said about black men. How come it's so easy? How come it's acceptable for them to openly just promote violence? Like there was a while ago, I got to find the clip where there was a podcast where women were saying it's best to just start aborting black boys. You just commit genocide. I'm like, we're giving every excuse in the book for them to condone this. Where is this coming from? I want to understand. Help me understand.
A deep-seated hatred for black men is where it's coming from.
Why?
Well,
we had Barack 8 years, man.
In some cases, I believe, and this is unfortunate, a lot of people in our community grew up without their fathers, right? So they're not accustomed to taking any type of leadership or direction from a black man, which, like I said, Barack Obama, I was very happy that he was the president. I voted for him because it was one of the few times you'll see, a lot of people will see, where a black man is actually in control. But as we watch the clip, a lot of that hatred comes from black women who have either have hatred for their fathers, have been mistreated by men in their personal lives, like boyfriends, brothers, uncles, whatever the case may be. And it's just pushed on to black men as a whole.
Yeah, like I think it comes from when single black women were the head of the household during mass incarceration during the crack epidemic era. They had to be hard. You know what I mean? Even my grandmother, she moved up from North Virginia with, 4 kids and then adopted 2 others, worked a full-time job and ran a full household. So it's like, I think it comes from that era when black women, or that time period, black women just had to be strong. Yes. You know what I mean? And there wasn't a lot of nurturing or balance of leadership and emotion because the black man was taken out of the household. And I think there is resentment to that when it goes down, if we really want to get into context, the Willie Lynch theory, when you're meant to buck break, right, the black male. So that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But I think just as a whole, I think it's still that it wasn't that long ago that those things happened. So I think that anger, resentment, and that strength is still ingrained in black women and black girl power and black woman society, to where it's just something that has to be nurtured over time. But it's being able to meet halfway, and it's a hard divide to when so many black men I meet are very calm, docile, able to have an intelligent conversation. Even if we come to blows and get angry, like, oh, this and that, it's like, yo, we cool. It's right. Like let's talk, let's relax and talk this out. To where it's like black woman, as you can see the lady in the video saying, is like she's talking about killing the president on a rant and stuff like that.
I don't know if she's gonna do it. She's saying it's gonna happen.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's how we got here as far as a resolution. I think what we're doing right now, as far as just talking about it and hopefully encouraging an audience of listeners that can be receptive to the message and different perspectives.
Also, to that point, I'm going to pull a Dr. Umar. But I think there needs to be more support, even financially and just publicly, for outlets for black men, black boys. I think that, of course, in our community, mental health is not discussed at all. It's a stigma. Some say that it's gotten better, but I think that there's certain groups where it's gotten better for them, but it's still, for us, it's still like, I don't know about all that.
It's a bit taboo.
Yeah, a bit taboo is an understatement. Things, yeah. And I think that there's been aspects where when we've gone out and done stuff that we've, talked to young men and whatnot, and, the one time we went downtown and we interviewed the young guy, and he was asking him like, hey, for Men's Health Month, what's something that a message you want out there? And he was telling he had a message to his friend. I don't know if his friend's ever going to see it. Yeah, something like that.
The roller skater dude, right?
Yeah. And he was like,
on some honest shit, just find somebody that you can really talk to, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, no matter how strong you is, no matter how much pride you got in you, yo, you gotta talk to somebody, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you. And that's crazy that you asked that question too, because this could be going to my brother. Yo, Kenny, if you watch this, bro, niggas is always here for you, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Just everybody, yo, find somebody to talk to, bro. You need somebody to talk to in your life, for real.
And I think that, one, we continue to get that message out there, but 2, there has to be a safe space for men. And there's a lot of that for women. No, not saying it's a bad thing, just saying. And I think that the resources for that, I'm not even going to say need to be allowed, but someone has to come out of the woodwork and make that resource available.
Well, I'll say that there are resources available, but are we utilizing them? And I'll be honest, no, we're not, because a lot of times if you come out and say, hey, look, I need this help, I need that help, I'm not doing well mentally, or I need some emotional support, you're not gonna get it. Nobody, it sounds terrible, but nobody really cares. And it's not, in that instance, unfortunately, it's not specific to black men. As a man, nobody cares really how you feel. We're judged on basically what we produce. Mm-hmm. And then being a black man is a little bit more difficult because a lot of times, if we're not falling in line with what people want us to do, whether it be black women, white, anybody, there's like very little acceptance for us to step up and say how we feel in any place.
Can't say white woman. We about to watch Dr. Umar.
Yeah, you call them pasties.
Hey, listen, I have no problem with white people, white women especially.
Tax season, it's around the corner.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more of Late Night Bmore. Stay tuned. Thanks, everyone.
This is a direct result of our experience seeking what we couldn't find. Wellspring was birthed out of our travels to what I would call nicer properties. Oftentimes when we arrived or when we stayed at those properties, we felt a little unseen, tolerated sometimes. And then when you looked around, we weren't represented, either in the food, the music, the experience, the guests. And out of that experience came the desire to create a space where people of color could be centered and experience luxury at the same time.
She makes things look pretty and nice, and I just make sure that they work.
Hi, my name is Lisa Brown Alexander, and I'm the co-owner here at Wellspring Manor and Spa.
And I'm Kevin Alexander, and I am the co-owner of Wellspring Manor and Spa.
Nepotism. I'm sure you've experienced it. You probably watching or probably a Nepo baby. But beyond that, does it really affect the everyday society that we're in today? In the workplace and socially, does nepotism really play a big factor? Is nepotism actually beneficial, or does it hinder the Nepo baby? Young Hemp, I'm going to start off with you. What are your thoughts on that?
I think in most cases, nepotism is a hindrance more than it is a help. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the sportscaster by the name of Jack Collinsworth, son of Chris Brady. I'm sorry, Chris Collinsworth.
No, it's Chris Mahomes now.
Chris Mahomes. Okay. No offense, Chris. Love your work, but
I don't.
You're biased, dude. I don't. Super biased. But anyway, so Jack, he took over from Mike Tirico. He was play-by-play guy for Notre Dame football. Did a horrible job and was unceremoniously fired, rightfully so. Because in his case, it's not because he lacks talent. It's because of his last name. He was pushed a little bit too fast. And unfortunately, with Nepo babies, this is what happens. Because of your last name and the legacy before you, they assume that, hey, you're just going to take off running, and everybody doesn't. Especially if you don't have the same motivators that your father or your mother or whomever you're benefiting from had. His dad played in the NFL, right?
Yeah, Chris Collinsworth, yeah. He was a wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals.
So he probably has a great knowledge of the game that his son doesn't have and actually had to earn and work his way up. Whereas if it's just handed to you, you don't have that same motivation. And that's kind of, to me, the worst part of nepotism. It robs you of the opportunity to work and earn,
Yeah, I think I've seen something to the effect of, most of these billionaires and rich people, when the child inherits the fortune, it usually goes downhill. Yes. Because the child didn't go and put the work ethic that the parent did to get that fortune. And so they're handed this amount of money and they're just like, oh man, this is great. I can, do everything, and more. And now mom and dad aren't here to,
I'm the boss now.
Yeah, they can't sign off.
Maintain
and then it usually,
the lifestyle.
Yeah, then it usually goes downhill. I mean, Inception. Yeah, I'm going to run the business my way, not my dad. And guess what happened? He ran it to the ground. That's what happened. Yeah. But to your point, let's look at it currently, and the one that was shoved in our face for goddamn a year, LeBron James.
Wow.
Let's listen to a clip here from Mad Dog over there at First Take on his thoughts on Bronny James.
Sorry to pause. He's in the G League now, right? Didn't he?
He's in the G League now.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just checking.
And he's still doing terrible.
He's not doing terrible.
Oh, you're right. He's doing awful. Let's roll the clip.
This might be fun for LeBron. Nobody in America cares that
Mad
Bronny James
dog.
played 3 minutes and grabbed 1 rebound. Now, and I love the kid. All right, we know we had the major issue at USC, and LeBron's great. He's an all-timer. He's always been a phenomenal player. He stays out of trouble. Who doesn't like LeBron? I mean, he's not Jordan. But the idea that he put him in for 3 minutes, he grabbed the rebound, a couple of shots, and this is the greatest moment in professional sports.
Mad
I mean, we got to
dog.
be serious.
They made history.
You know, you can make the argument that the Lakers got Bronny to begin with, to, as Wendy just said, to energize LeBron. So that puts a qualification on it. Well, hold on now. He's only on the team because LeBron's 40. He's their star. So as a result, that's a second-round pick, 3 minutes. Let's throw him out there. Sorry, folks.
Guys.
I ain't buying it.
Now, let me say something. LeBron's a jerk. All right, he's a jerk.
Explain why.
Because ain't no party like a Diddy party.
Hey, well, okay.
Let's leave Diddy out of this.
Hey, he said it though. But look, man, you exploiting your kids for your career is crazy to me. I know some people might look at it and be like, "No, Basil, you're exaggerating it." Everything that he does is for LeBron. Cool. I mean, that's great. That's your brand. That's hey, all that. Your kid doesn't want to play basketball. At least Bronny doesn't. I don't think that he does. I don't think that he does. I think Bryce does. Bryce looks like he actually enjoys playing
Bryce
basketball.
is like 6'8".
Yeah. But beyond that, I still think that Bronny, I mean, he likes to play, but I don't think he has the drive and passion to play like Bryce does. And to that point, I mean, every time he's out there, man, I don't know, man, he seems miserable to me. I could be wrong, but
I think he might be a little bit apprehensive because of the heart complication he had when he was in school. So my thing is like,
which is another thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Why do you
like,
draft this guy? You probably could have signed him as a free agent.
Yeah, like that's like to go through something like that at such a young age, and then be able to try to have your father put you in a position where you got to push yourself amongst men that been in the league for a minute. It's a whole different level. So I think there might be apprehension there. And then also I heard he's a big gamer. And like esports is like blowing up. So it's kind of just like, and wasn't LeBron fighting for him to have a Fortnite character or something?
No, it's
now?
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty character. So it's like, if you're going to push your son and use your platform to give him an edge, give him something that he's genuinely passionate for and can make some serious dough in as well.
And before you go remember he tweeted out saying Bronny could is better than half the guards in the league right now, and he was in high school at the time.
Yeah. So
why are you setting up your children like that, bro?
Let me ask you a question. Does this sound familiar to you? Tell me who did the same exact thing. You guys may not guess, but this is LeVar Ball 2.0. And it's kind of a similar situation. You had Lonzo, and when Lonzo was playing, he didn't look like he was having fun. He came out, struggled early, right? Unfortunately, now he's dealing with some knee issues, but he eventually found his footing. LaMelo, like you mentioned with Bryce, seemed like he took off immediately. The difference is, to me, the amount of pressure and the attitude of each son. Because LaMelo, just from the outside, he looks like he doesn't care. He's out there like, okay, my dad is going to say this, I'm going to be myself. Whereas Lonzo, I felt the pressure to live up to his dad's expectations, and maybe the same thing is going on with Bronny, where you push him so fast, and this is where, like I said earlier, with the nepotism, you don't give the person a chance to earn it. You're giving it to him, and now you're putting them in your shadow constantly. You give it to him, and now it's like, okay, well, I really wasn't ready for it, but I have to live up to it. And the pressure, the constant thinking, okay, not only do I have to play like my dad, I'm actually the same, like, my name is LeBron James too. So, like, you didn't really help me.
Do you think that it's a factor that LeVar is not in the league playing and LeBron is playing in the league still?
I don't think that it's really as far, I mean, what do you mean by a factor?
As far as, like, that pressure that you were saying, because LeVar is talking from the sidelines, whereas LeBron is talking on the court.
Well, I don't think it's so. No, I don't think LeBron being a current player makes it more difficult, because across sports and even outside of sports, you see this, like with Devin Haney, his dad, Bill Haney, constantly talking. Now his son's got to go in the ring and back it up. If your child is a professional athlete, just shut up. because you're not the person that has to go out there and perform. At the end of the day, everybody's here. Oh yeah, he's going to give everybody 30. Oh, he's better than half the point guards in the league. They're going to try to murder your son every game. Like, you're not helping them.
The other side of that is actually the kid.
Yeah,
because we're talking about the parent now. The kid do you think that to that point, how much disappointment do you think the kid feels if they don't live up to the expectation of the parent? And do you think that he has regrets, not even just Bronny in general, but just Nepo babies? Is there regrets that they're in the positions that they're in? Because some celebrities, they just flat out like, oh, I know I'm a Nepo baby. Like Maya Hawke has openly said that about her career. Yeah, I'm a Nepo baby. Like there's no Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. I wouldn't be here in the position I'm at acting wise if it wasn't for them. It is what it is.
To me, like I said, it's about the attitude at the end of the day, because if you embrace it, it's like, you know what, I don't care. Yeah, I'm a Nepo baby, but I'm still going to be myself. Then you don't feel the pressure because you're going to be who you are. You acknowledge your parents' accomplishments and you do your own thing. But if you're forced into a situation where you're on your father's team, you already have his last name, you got cameras in your face in one of the largest markets in the NBA, one of the most, like, this probably wasn't the best place to do this. I mean, if you're playing for Milwaukee, you're not going to have all this ticker tape parades and stuff. But if you're in LA, come on, man. It's already hard enough.
I think Nepo babies that, like you were saying, you were mentioning some actors and actresses that, spoke to their nepotism and how they were in their position. Ayo Edebiri, she plays Sydney on The Bear. I don't know if you guys watch The Bear or whatever.
Yeah.
She's openly been on the carpet just talking about, yeah, I'm a Nepo baby, but I've used that platform to level up. Like, she's been writing, directing, producing. So she openly talks about being a Nepo baby, but she puts her money where her mouth is. And she's like, oh no, if they don't want to make this, I'll write and produce it. I'll do it, to where she speaks to her nepotism, but she uses it as a platform to essentially grow. This is her saying it in an interview. I don't know what she's personally done. I know she's won a couple of awards, like Screen Actors Guild Award, Golden Globe, but we know that it's a shell game or whatever. But the fact that she has made those accomplishments in the industry, that's respect to a Nepo baby. That's kind of keeping it 100 and putting, walking the walk and talking the talk. But then you got some Nepo babies to where, that, like you said, they were in positions to where they were like, I don't know if I should be here. Case in point, they just did that whole Menendez series. These kids were given everything on a silver platter, and I guess the perspectives of it on a wholesale point was disappointment because their father wanted them to be something that they couldn't live up to. And we all know how that story ended. I can't say these things because of algorithm suppression, but a lot of bad things happened on that series. So I think there's like a pros and cons to how, like you said, mindset and attitude to, and then I think it's when you're raising your kids in a nepotism situation, giving them perspective. Like, don't keep them in that bubble to where it's just like it's all sweet and good. Because once real life hits them and they get the bag from the trust fund or whatever, it's just like, oh, I don't know how to swim. We sinking now, So it's just levels to it.
To push back on that, even though she is a known actress, but she's like writing and producing and whatnot, how much of that is still her and how much of that is still the position where she's in because of her nepotism? Because you're saying that she's still growing. But like, if they don't write this, then I'll go write it myself. But you'll go write it yourself knowing that you'll get it seen because of who you are in the position that you're in.
Don't quote me on that. That's me putting words in her mouth.
Oh, okay. I'm
paraphrasing right now. We didn't have the full interview up.
He's
but I get what you're saying too, to where it's just like, it could be just like, oh, they don't trust in my vision, I'm going to do it myself, whether it's good or not type thing. So there could be some good and bad circumstances to that. And it also comes down to your camp, like your circle around you. Who's holding you accountable for the steps you're taking with the platform and resources that you have?
Well, I think the biggest thing too, with as far as accountability, majority of the time it's no.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem in our society as a whole. There is no accountability. Do what you want. Don't take responsibility or accountability for it. Rinse, lather, repeat. Just that's where we are today.
Well, if everyone's interested in anyone's interested in this whole nepotism discussion, The Vulture in 2022 came out with an in-depth, all definitive guide of Hollywood Nepoverse, actors, singers, directors, who just happens to be the child of actors, singers, and directors, and the list is ridiculous. This is an extensive read. If you got the time, I recommend that you you go see it. But yeah, man, my kids, nah, man, I'm gonna give you the Jackie Chan effect. You ain't getting my money.
So I was going to ask that question, right? So let's put the sports entertainment to the side for a second. I have a daughter. You guys, you have yet to make people, and I can't wait till you do, because I'm gonna give them all the noise-making toys I can find, and make sure you have an unlimited supply of batteries for them.
You're not allowed to.
Hey, I like black women, and I'm the enemy now, so it looks like I ain't.
Yeah.
Well,
for a while.
I'm sure you'll find one. Hey.
I'm trying.
But when you guys have kids and are in position, will you put your kids in position? That's a real question. Because, for me, I'm not gonna lie. With my daughter, yeah, I'm gonna help her as much as I can. Whatever I can do to make her life easier, I'm gonna do. However, to your point, Travis, I'll make sure she knows, hey, baby, this is not normal. You need to, even though I'm gonna open doors for you, I'm not gonna walk through them and pull you through. This is the opportunity. Now you need to earn it. And if you don't earn it, I'll always be able to push you back up and hopefully open up another door for you. But you still have to do your part, right?
Yeah, I think for me, I think that in terms of raising my child, there's definitely going to be that discipline and humility. I think there needs to be a perspective out there of hey, this is how people have it out there, and this is how you have it out there. Whether they need to go volunteer at a food, a shelter or whatever the case may be, I want to make sure that it's ingrained that, oh man, I have it well off compared to other people. And with that, hopefully at a young age, they're able to see that. And with that, they're able to take that memory and be like, hey, I am in the position I'm in, but I'm grateful to be in it because I could have been worse off. And yeah, I think that also, as we talk about accountability, that's accountability on the parents and how you want to raise your kids. Yes. You can't just be taking them, vacations to Cabo all the time and be like, hey, I'm spending time with my kid, and it's like, well, you're not teaching them anything. Right. A lot of kids now, well, it doesn't even matter, or rich or poor, but beforehand, when these rich kids were coming out and going into the world, they had zero skills, and they had to be, it was literally the silver spoon, as they say. Mm-hmm. You had a silver spoon in your mouth, and that's how it is. And then, so my kid is not going to have that silver spoon. My kid's going to know how to do things, whatever it may be. You change your own oil, all right? Change your tire. You're going to know how to do those skills. And people might say, well, that's not, that's nothing. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how much these little mundane skills that you think are actually nothing that you're paying. They're like, oh, I'll just pay someone else to do it. Look, man, in the long run, it'll pay off.
Yeah, I'd agree. So the volunteering was a big thing. That's what gave me a lot of perspective as a kid, doing Big Addies, giveaways back when I was younger. My mom made me do those. But then also everything I got from my parents, it was also given out of love, but then also I had to earn it. When you wake up, make your bed, brush your teeth, you got dishes, you got trash, you learn to cut the grass now. So there was little things I learned.
Those little blisters you used to get right there on your finger.
Oh yeah,
man, that was
oh my gosh, horrible.
Skin would peel.
It was horrible. And then we had a dishwasher, but I washed all the dishes by hand. You know what I mean? So there was little things, but my mom taught me hey, I'm giving you this money, but this is when you're going to open your first bank account. This is when so there's little things that I think can come to having resources to spoil your child to some degree, or give them means that allow them, opportunities in life that others might not have. But giving them, like I said, perspective, the volunteering thing's very big, and also how your child reacts. Being able to understand that too, because there's been instances to where I've seen brothers in families, one gets something the other doesn't, and their reactions are differently. When it comes to one being more grateful, docile, quiet, and the other just being like, this isn't good enough. And you know how that goes in certain ways. What?
Yeah. Well, also to that effect, if they don't get what they want, how they spaz out, just publicly.
Oh yeah,
and you're just like,
well,
adults do that, and you're just like, what's wrong with you? Who raised you? And then now you know.
No one raised them.
Yeah,
they're adult children.
True. But we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to finish off the show. Please stay tuned. Grab a water, go to the bathroom. Take care of your business, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Hi, this is Travis here with the Baltimore Guys, and we are at the Baltimore Convention Center, and we're here for the annual tattoo convention, and we're going to be discussing with people the culture of tattoos. What was your first tattoo, and what was the significance behind getting it?
okay, the first tattoo I got was right here on my arm, called Believe. The message behind it was, you gotta believe in yourself. All things are possible to him that believeth.
I really like neo-traditional art, so I like really big, bold contour lines. I love bright colors, but obviously I like a lot of the fine line words and script too. So it's really just, I have to look at your stuff and like it. It's got to stand out to me.
Could you explain more about the spiritual journey? And like you said, not having a home and that your tattoos mean something significant to you. Is that more of like a spiritual thing, more of a unity and community thing? What did you mean by that?
It certainly can be spiritual. Like, I feel like for the long sessions especially, like you almost have to go to like this meditative place and kind of like release some of that pain. And some of that pain is like the physical pain of the session, but then emotions come up as well. And there can be this immense catharsis if you would allow it to happen and don't fight it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's been a big part of it for me too, of kind of like transforming the inside via the outside, or like those working hand in hand.
If you've been out there in the world, you've seen our military and our police. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I question whether or not that they can handle the job and should be actually doing the job. We actually have a vet in studio today.
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask him, young him.
They wouldn't let me in.
Yes.
Look, man, not that I can talk because I'm fat myself, but I'm trying.
Okay.
But a lot of the military standards, police standards, they seem to have gone down the gutter. We had a situation where there was an incident that involved a foot chase, and let's just say the guy got away. And in our military alone, you know, usually when you go into boot camp, you see guys and you're like, oh, damn, like,
oh, yeah.
That guy, there's a presence to it.
You're in phenomenal shape.
Yeah, and now it seems to be that.
Hold on. Are you making a personal attack?
No, not yet.
I know I've let myself go.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. But is there going to be a comeback to what the military and even police in general standards need to be?
So I'll start with military and police, very similar. However, they're different mission, right? So to answer your question about the fitness standard, each branch has a different mission, right? So you have Army, Marines, or Ground Forces, Air Force, obviously, in the Air Navy.
Chair.
Chair, whatever you may want to call them. Navy, they have primarily dominion over the 7 seas, right? So the level of fitness may be different across branches because of what you're required to do. And then it's also different across different jobs or rates or MOSs or whatever it's called in your respective branch of service. Oh, we forgot the Space Force. Space Force as well. So
making a comeback.
You'll see different service members that are part of different branches that have different levels of fitness because their job is not requiring them to ruck 40 miles, right? So that's understandable. Second of all, unfortunately, this is the part that nobody talks about with military and police about the fitness standard. Those are 2 jobs, if you do them long enough, you're guaranteed to get injured. And so many people don't understand how hard it is to have to get up every day, maybe work out at 6 a.m. You got to do ruck marches. You're doing a whole lot of physical activity, and a lot of it is repetitive. Injuries are going to happen, and it's going to prevent you from working out. So that's a big part of it, right? You might have a guy who was at one point a PT stud, throws his back out, messes his knee up. He no longer can actually perform the exercises necessary to stay in shape. And of course, as former athletes, we all know our level of activity may change, right? We may become more sedentary, but the hardest thing for us is our terrible eating habits because we all have them because we're used to burning so many calories. And that's what happens. If you're used to rucking and doing all this exercise and all of a sudden you can't, you're not going to stop eating like you do. And that's why guys gain weight. And the other thing is the mental aspect, right? Eating is a coping mechanism for a lot of people. When you mentioned Commander-in-Chief, a lot of people in the military are not happy. he's a very polarizing figure. You'll never hear someone just say, "Oh, yeah, he's all right." You either like him or you don't like him. So it's the same way in the military. The general consensus is, "Hey, he's our boss, quote unquote, but we have a job to do. You know, we don't get into politics of things. You do your job. We don't worry about it. He'll be gone in 4 years or 8 years. Most of these people, they may not even be in 4 years. So it's not something that is in general that you really want to talk about, because in some branches of the military, they'll let you fight. It can get real physical real quick.
Yeah, I remember a good friend of mine, he was in the Marines back in the day, and he was telling me, hey, if you had an issue with somebody, you settled it right then and there.
Well, the other thing is, right, it's a new society.
Right.
I think that it's really important for us as men, because in the armed forces, men, we make up a bulk of a lot of the jobs, right? For us to be able to communicate and solve problems without getting physical. Because for one, if me and Travis, we're working together, right? We're in the Army. He and I have a disagreement. Travis knocks me out, breaks my jaw. I can't work. And whatever I'm supposed to be doing is not getting done, right? So
and the MPs come and take me away.
Probably not. So the MPs, I mean, if for a fist fight, if
MP stand for people watching and listening.
Military police. So if you assault me, yeah. But if we're just fighting, and no, I'm not. Come on, man. But if you walk up to me and just punch me out of nowhere, but if we're conducting combatives, which is allowable, we can conduct combatives whatever you like to, as long as we agree to it.
Okay.
So
I think there's been a perception out there publicly that our military looks weak, especially with some things you might see on people in the military on TikTok, or you just might see on social media, or there's some aspects of, when you mentioned the mentally for the military. Yes. Some people get into the military and they think it's one thing, and then it's completely not.
I'll speak for the branch of service, Army, whatever the case may be. There are a lot of folks there who, like I said, who love the military, are there because they want to be there. There are folks there who who really don't have another option. Their parents they may not have parents, right? I'll be honest. There's a large LGBT presence in the military because, unfortunately, a lot of times their parents will disown them, and the military essentially becomes their daddy, right? You get your meals, you get they take care of you,
lodging, everything,
right?
Yeah.
So you have a mixture of people who want to be there and are there to serve. You have and you have people who are there because they really don't have a better option. Not to say the standard is low, but in today's society, it's not the best and brightest that are usually going, right? And so you talked about a gentleman who was in the Marines some time ago. It was a point in time in this country where the best and brightest joined the military. Now, in the current generations, the best and brightest are not. I mean, they're going to college, and the real smart ones are .com billionaires by the time they're 20, or TikTok, or have some type of content creation going on, right?
Right.
So
I know what you're saying there.
The caliber of person, I was there. I'm not going to say that I'm not a good person or that I'm one of the worst people, but I'll be honest. My dad's, my uncle, my brother was in. They were far better than I was, and being in the military was looked at a higher standard. So I don't think it's the soldiers, it's society's view of the military, mostly because of an unpopular war, right? When I was in, it was funny because I didn't realize it. There were 18-year-olds coming in who had never lived in this country and we not be at war. Their entire life, we were at war. So that long stretch of fighting and then the way it ended rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in the military and outside of the military. And to me, I think that's more damaging. It's not the service members, it's the public image of the service that is taking a hit. And unfortunately, it's because of decisions being made by people who have never worn a uniform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
what was your mentality when you went in, and what do you think the mentality is of those who are in now, especially the ones who are just joining, new recruits coming in? Because I know there's a friend of ours who oversees, her her team.
Doing her thing over there.
Huh?
She's over there now.
Yeah. And some things happen that I'm not going to elaborate on yet, but also there's a lot of, do I have to? That going on. It's like, yes, I just gave you an order. Like go do it. It's like, all right. And I'm just like, well, you join. I'm like, a lot of the stuff factors that you said, why people join, I get that, but also you had to have known. I mean, there with social media or just movies or whatever the case may be, there's no way you're in that big of a bubble to not know that when I go into the military, how things were going to be.
No, you'll be surprised how many people don't know. So like coming in, unfortunately, every recruiter is not the best recruiter. So this past summer, I was talking with a young man, and he's interested in joining the military. He's actually, I think, doing ROTC now. He is going to branch in Intel, and that's great, right? And I asked him, I said, hey, do you like working out? He said, okay. I said, so if you don't like working out, you probably shouldn't join the Army because it's required. You're going to have to do it. And that's, like I said, they don't prepare you for that aspect of military service. It has to kind of fit your personality. If you're not a person that enjoys being outside, like if you're not into camping, if you're not into exercising, if you don't like getting your ankles wet and walking in the shoes for the next 7 hours with soaked boots, the ground forces ain't for you, brother, because we all got to do it. I don't care if you're a 42 Alpha or a 35 Fox or 11 Bravo. At some point, you go into the field. Whereas some of my coworkers from my previous job, we were all had served at some point, 3 Army guys and a Navy guy. I said, hey, man, did you ever go in a ruck? He was like, no. I said, you ever do weapons training? No. Like, so a lot of times when people join, they don't really have an idea, and how would you until you get there, of what the job entails. Basic soldiering. Everybody has to do the basic soldiering tasks. Now, not everyone does them to the same level, but to your point, to answer your question, it happens all the time where guys show up there and they have no idea what to expect. They're just thinking, oh yeah, I'm an IT guy, so I'm going to be on the computer all the time. Nope. That's not how it works. You're a soldier.
Shots fired. I don't know what to do.
I'm going to say this and I'm going to put my mic down. If you guys really want to know, I'll have a recruiter call you, sign you up. Brazil, I know you got a knee. Lie about it. They'll take you, brother. Travis, they're going to put you right in special forces, brother.
Nah, I got a medical history of asthma, so I'm going to be like, you said, everybody said, don't tell them, they'll put you in. That's my mentor. He's a Vietnam vet. He's like, look, if they get a hold of you, Travis, you're going to be in something. Like, period. Just because of your background, your athletic background, what you do for a living, the way you engage with people.
I think you should sign up. I think you should go, man. They need people like you. I mean, you got a degree, so you can be an officer.
All right, this ain't a recruit episode.
That switch, man. The mental switch when it comes to that stuff. I don't think I could do.
You don't have to switch it.
Nah, man. If I get an MOS that's got me.
Listen, those killer dudes were always the coolest guys. They were always like everybody thinks they're going to be like. Some of them are a little.
No.
A little tough, but
the killers are always usually the nicest ones.
But it's combat for training. When you out there, you got to take a life.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's combat for killing. They don't teach you none of them for play moves. They teach you.
No. I'm saying to implement it. That's how I'm not ready. Different level, built different.
But no, look, hey, y'all out there, thank you for your service, but also some of y'all do better. I know. That's
Shut
harsh.
up.
That's harsh. But hey, thank all of you who watch and listen to the first episode of Late Night Bmore. Really, really appreciate you being here with us. Please stay tuned for more. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when a new episode drops in there. But please stay tuned for more. I'm your host, Brazil. Y'all have a good night.